Hey everybody. Um, I'm sorry I couldn't be there with you today, but with the help of a good substitute teacher, I hope is there, we're going to watch a video of me teaching the lesson that I would have taught you if you were there. So the great thing about having a video is every once in a while we can pause the video to let people catch up and things like that. So if I get going too fast, raise your hand and ask the teacher to pause the video for a second, and it'll give you time. Or if you did not quite understand it, you can rewind it. It's one of those wonderful things about videos. So today I know that looking at my list of students that I was supposed to have today, I know most of you. So I know that some of you have had a little bit of training, though over the break you may have went without playing for a little bit and need a good review. I've had students tell me I don't remember anything, and that's okay, but generally when we get started, they go, oh yeah, I remember now. So don't start thinking about it. So at this point, very carefully, you should have a ukulele, and if we need to pause the video while we carefully get ukuleles, please remember to carry them with both hands. Okay? Please also be kind, and while I'm talking, please do not play. The substitute teacher will have my full backing that if you can't quit playing while it's time to listen, that you need to put yours up. Hopefully we won't have that. Okay? So at this point, and like I said, pause it if we need to. If the ukuleles are out of tune, and it's very possible that they're out of tune, it's okay. We're not necessarily worried about the tuning today. We're going to be worried about how to hold it. So if it's out of tune, please do not try to tune them on your own. I will see about having a student come in and try to tune them later on today so that tomorrow you can have it in tune. But please do not touch these, because what's going to end up happening is you turn them the wrong way, you're going to throw the ukulele even more out of tune. You turn it the other way, you may break a string. Okay, that will be an issue. Okay, so please don't touch these. Okay, so I'm going to start today's video off with something fun, and it's not going to be a very long video. It'll be a very short video, but you may ask yourself, what in the world does this have to do with ukulele? So I'm going to make myself small here, and I want you to very carefully, at this point, your ukulele should be on the floor in rest position. Gently, don't let them bang on the floor. Okay, so watch this really quick. This is an old commercial. See, hold on. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit. Well, that didn't work. Hold on. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit so that you can hear it. Here we go.
Okay, let's operate. Operate. Where's the dog?
It's Operation the Wacky Doctor's game where you're the wacky doctor. Batteries not included.
Included. My turn. Take out asparagus for $100.
It takes a steady hand, because if you touch the sides...
Here goes the funny bone. Don't get nervous. I did it. That's $200.
Operation, a game from Milton Bradley.
Okay, I want to talk about this game right here. This is an old board game that's been around a long, long time, all right? But I always, when we start thinking about what does this have to do with the ukulele, I always think about this when I'm teaching play ukulele. That may be weird, but this part of, in this video right here, of not touching the sides and being very right down the middle with my cursor. You see this? If you touch the sides, it makes the guy's nose light up. You know, I'm going to make myself big again. So, this idea of don't touch the sides. And I think about this a lot, and I'm going to put my ukulele up here like this. But one of the things that we need to really focus on this year is making sure it's not just getting to the right note now. We have to think about our sound this year, and that making sure that it sounds the best. And like, if you remember anything last year, we talked about hooking our finger. Well, the reason we hook our finger is, say I'm going to touch this string right here. I only want to touch that string, and I can't let my finger lay over or it's going to get in the way of this string. Hopefully you can see that. So one of our things that we're talking about doing is really making sure that we use the tip of the finger and hook that finger to where we only touch that string. See? That's so important right there. And in order to make this happen, if my thumb is not in the right spot and my hand spacing's not in the right spot, then being able to make that hook is almost impossible. Okay? So I know that some of you probably remember where to put your fingers on it at one time, and that's great. But this year, it's not just about putting your fingers down. It's making sure that, that when we play this chord right here, which is what we call our level 1 F, that not only can you hear that note, but you can hear the note under. And if you let that finger lay over, it ends up sounding like that. And especially when we go to level 2 F, which we'll talk about soon. If you need a review on this, don't worry. But just using it as an example, in this particular thing, I have 2 fingers that I have to make sure hook and stay up, because this finger, if we use the flat part right here, this finger wants to do this. So talking about our hand position and reviewing from last year, making sure that that thumb is hidden, not over the top, but back here, straight up and down. Don't let it hang out down here. Don't let it, what I call hitchhiker thumb, point towards the wall over here. Okay? Have it straight up and down. And then when you put any of your fingers down, that you've got plenty of space in that finger's hook. Making sure that we're not bending our hook down like this. And the reason that hooks bend is because we don't use the tip of our finger like we're supposed to. If we use the tip of our finger. So that is the first step right there, okay? Now, one of the next things that we're going to do is we're going to jump into reviewing some chords real quick, and I'm going to get another video up. And we're not going to necessarily listen to the whole video. Give me just 1 second to get this up. And
so I saw on your profile that you like to cook.
Oh, I love it. This is my specialty.
Okay. Boo. Okay. So this song right here is usually what I use as my first song. I'm gonna move it down. And I've got we're not gonna listen to it quite yet. I'm just gonna pull up the chords. Okay. So this, and I'm gonna make myself big here. We'll make the chords big. So if you take a look at these things right here, this is the next thing that I want to make sure that everybody remembers how to do. And if we have anybody new here that was not at this school last year, hopefully that you guys that were here can help them. But making sure that we understand what this grid means. We've got lines coming down this way, and then we got lines going across. And though I would normally take some question and answers at this point on what this is, I'm not there to do that. So I'm going to change. Sorry. So I'm going to do this right here. I'm holding my ukulele up, and I want you to see the grid part of this ukulele. And I'm trying to get it down here as close as I can so that, but if you if you take this part and I cover this up, sorry, watching myself on video, it's kind of like it feels like I'm doing the opposite of what I actually want. So that right there, that is exactly what I try to get you to picture in your head. Notice that this big white line across here, that is, most of you are probably saying it right now, it's the nut. And that is a point on our, let's see if I can find my cursor over here. It's way over here. Okay. That is the nut right here going across. So we take a look. This first line over here on this side is right here. That is your first string, okay? All the way down. Then this next line here, that is your second string. So wherever this falls right here, third string, fourth string, okay? So now we're talking about these boxes. If we look at, we have the nut here. If we look down here at the next metal part right here, we call this whole box right here that it makes a fret, okay? Some of you, this may be a good review for. Some of you may have missed this last year, okay? So some of you may not have been here, so just hang with me. So to find the spot on our ukulele, if we're turning it like we're going to play, I'm going to go back to my original spot here, just like that. I'm going to make myself a little bit bigger. You guys are probably getting a big kick out of all this, but this is why I do it, so that we can. So if we're holding our ukulele like this, the bottom string is the first string. This string, second string, third string, fourth string. So please remember that we start counting from the bottom. That can really mess you up. If I say go to the second string and you actually, instead of going here, you start here, you end up on a completely different sound, okay? So when we turn it up like this where we were, notice that this is the first string. That's why it's on the bottom. So what I would like for you to do now, just to test you, and I'm not too worried about which finger right now, but this number 1 means your first finger. And please don't get it confused with the piano, because piano uses thumb and calls this the first finger. But we do this 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So right there we got first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger. So if you take a look here, this 1 doesn't tell you what string, it doesn't tell you what fret, it tells you which finger to use, and make sure that you're making a hook. So what I'd like for you to do is I'd like for you to put your first finger, because this is the number 1, I want you to put it right here. Okay, take a second. I shouldn't be hearing a whole lot of strumming, just putting your finger in the right spot, okay? So taking your finger, and if we need to pause at this point for a couple of seconds so that everybody has a chance to go, okay, well, this would be the first finger, so this is the second I'm sorry, this is the first string, so this is the second string, and which box? Oh yeah, this is the first box. And then when we're doing this, we're going to go, okay, here's the first string, so the next string up, first box starts right under the nut, making sure that we're hooking, because it's not good enough just to get there. Some people, if you're holding it like this and your finger's flat, make sure that you're hooking that, okay? So then when we go to the number 2, you take your second finger. Remember, it's 1, let me get in this, 1, 2. So this finger right here is going to go top string, second fret, making sure that both of them are hooked. That's your F chord, okay? So that is a quick review on how to read these things. If you need help, or if you're confused, maybe you can, within social distancing guidelines, maybe have a partner help you and see. So our goal for this week, even though I'm not there, my goal is for us to be able to play this song right here. Okay. It's going to go the whole song. I'm going to make myself a little bit smaller here. So this whole song is going to go C, G, A minor, F. Okay. So what we're going to work on this week is review all these chords, because all these chords, if you were at this school last year, we've talked about all this. 2, reviewing the way to get from chord to chord, and then be able to play this song we're at 75% right now. So I'd like for you to put your ukuleles down while I demonstrate what this sounds like. I don't want you to try to play along with it yet, but hopefully towards the end of the class, you'll be able to play along with me. So it will sound like this. To the G chord, to A minor, to the F chord, back to C chord, to the G chord, to A minor, to the F chord, back to C. Here we go. To the G chord, to A minor, to the F chord, back to C chord, to the G chord, to A minor, to the F chord. So if we could do it like that by the end of the week, I would be like, yay, because that is a really great thing to build on. So with you guys' help right here, the first thing that I want to do is, if I had to guess by looking at my roster of kids that I've got today, I know about where you were at the last time I seen you. And I would bet that you are really good at C. I'll bet you are really great at A minor. And I'll bet that you're pretty good at F. G is the thing that we had the hardest time with last year. Now, the cool thing about being in 3rd grade is there's something that happens to you over the summer. And it's just funny to me every year that in 2nd grade, I have so many 2nd graders that have such a hard time with this G. And then all of a sudden you come back from summer break, and we had a long summer break, but you come back from summer break and all of a sudden the G is not all that hard anymore. There's just something that happens to your fingers over the summer, and I just see it every year. But one thing that's very important on this G, that if you're having a bad time with it or a hard time with it, it usually has to do with the thumb. Okay. So if you say to yourself, I can't make this, don't say you can't. It usually has to do with the ukulele, the way you're holding it. And here's usually why that is happening. The reason why that's happening is people are trying to hold up the ukulele and play it at the same time. So it's because if they were to take this hand, which is my left hand, don't get confused there. It's actually it's probably pretty close to what you're doing right now. If you take this hand off the ukulele, notice that my left hand is in the air and my ukulele doesn't fall in the floor. Okay? It doesn't do that. But a lot of people, if I asked you to do that, your ukulele is going to either fall down like this because you're holding it up. So making sure that you're using your right arm to actually hold the ukulele. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of having my arm go over the top of it here to where I can still, it's kind of like I'm holding the ukulele up against my body with the inside of my arm so that I can still play with my right hand. But notice this, that when I take my hand off, the ukulele doesn't fall on the floor. This hand does not hold it up. Okay, so starting with the C chord, the easy one, making sure that your thumb's in the right place, and then making sure you're hooking your finger. Okay, I'm gonna make myself big for just a second so that you can see me a lot better. Make sure that we're not doing this, okay? And a lot of times what happens is, and I'm gonna set up a little bit here. A lot of times what happens when people are setting out there is they're setting crisscross applesauce, and then the ukulele is laying on their hand like this. Okay, can't do that. Gotta have the ukulele holding up here like this, making sure that we got plenty of space. I don't have a marker here. You know, you guys love it when I stick the marker in. I'm gonna have to, maybe our next lesson, have a marker. But that's it. That's how it should look right there, using the tip of the fingers, making sure that we're, just like that operation game, that we're only touching that string. Because if we do this, notice what happens. My finger starts laying here. So don't let it fall over like this. Nice thing. Now, remember, at any time, if you need to pause and let everybody catch up, that's completely okay. But C is like, I expect most people to be able to do a C. I'm on the 3rd fret, 1st string, 1, 2, 3. Okay. But here's the thing. It's not enough just to get to the C. You have to practice the good habits. Okay. So here's C. So we're going to practice. I'm going to make my chords a little bit bigger here. We're going to practice going to this G. And one of the things that I would be seeing, if you remembered from last year, if I was there, I would say, okay, do you guys remember the best way to get from C to G? And hopefully somebody would go, yeah, you're going to take your 3rd finger and you're going to move it here. And making sure, I'm going to turn, let me get this out. Making sure that that 3rd finger on C gets to the 2nd string, but is hooked. Okay? Test yourselves. Play that bottom string. If you get this, that means your 3rd finger is falling over, and to hook it more. And if you say, I'm hooking it and it's still not working, it's probably because you're hooking it and part of this hand is getting in the way there. Okay? So make sure that you are hooking that finger to where it doesn't touch anything else. Then you're going to put your 2nd finger on the 1st string, 2nd fret. And then you're going to take your 1st finger on the same fret. One of the things that I see a lot of is people trying to do this. Okay? Now, it's got to be on the same fret, these 2 fingers. This is what we talked about last year, is the B. You know, saying peace. And then these 2 go on the same one right in the middle. Okay? Now, I want everybody to try that. And it's okay for you to strum a little bit. Don't get too crazy. And, you know, pause the recording right now and let everybody get a chance to, you know, try to make that. And then looking at the picture here, make sure that you're understanding that this is the 1st string, 2nd box, but the 2 doesn't mean 2nd box. The 2 means 2nd finger, then 1st finger, okay? Then 3rd finger right here in the middle, okay? So hopefully if you've needed to pause the recording, you can. I want you to take a look at this G right here, okay? So I want you to memorize it. Hopefully you've got good space down through here. Okay. Hopefully your fingers are all hooked up to where they're only touching the string that they're supposed to be touching. Nothing's getting lazy and laying down. Okay. That's my G sound. Okay. So here in just a second, just like what we did last year, I'm going to ask you to take your hands off and shake your hand, because we're going to start from scratch. And we're also during this time going to practice holding the ukulele with our right hand. So taking this hand off, and we're shaking our hands so that you don't try to cheat me and do this, okay? So nobody's touching, and don't start putting your fingers down until I say. I bet you there's somebody out there trying to cheat right now. Stop it. Okay, shake your hand, everybody. Make sure it's your left hand, not your right hand. Your right hand's holding the ukulele, left hand up here. I'm gonna give you 4 seconds to make your G chord with really great hand position. So think about where that thumb needs to be. Here we go, shaking the hand, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Freeze, show me. How's it look? Do you have your thumb up here? Hope not. Do you got plenty of space? Okay, let's do it again. Shake your hand. Here we go. When I say go, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. Let's do it again. One last time. Here we go. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. So at this point, if you still have several people that are not able to get there in 4 seconds, and that's okay. There's no law that says that we have to be able to do it after the 3rd time. We may take us 10 times. That's fine. Pause until everybody feels comfortable to go on. Okay? So if I'm taking it now that if you paused, you are got your G chord and you are able to just go and make the G. So we're going to go on now to the chord progression here, and we are going to practice C, our first chord, to G. All right, and we're going to go back and forth just like this. Here we go. 1, just like what we did in class last year. So we're going to strum the C and practice going to G. So it'll sound like this. G chord. Notice I move with my 3rd finger first. Going to the G chord. Okay. Now, if you are fast, and there's some people I know are going, I can do it in 2. If you can do it in 2, then you have time to think about making sure that you got space and the tips of your fingers. Okay. So let's practice that back and forth. And remember, I want you going with your 3rd finger first. That's going to help you keep from getting lost. Okay. Here we go. Starting on C. 1, 2, C chord, ready, strum. G chord, going to the G chord. C chord, back to the C chord. Keep that hand position. G chord, going to the G. Watch your thumb. C chord, back, hook your fingers, C chord. G chord, going to the G chord. Make sure those top 2 fingers are on the same fret. Back to the C chord. If you get lost, grab your C and start over. Going to the G chord. C chord, going to the C chord. G chord, going to the G chord. Okay, so this is another point where if you're having trouble or if you need a little bit of extra time, this is a perfect time for your teacher to pause the video for a few minutes and let you guys work that out a few more times, or even rewind it a couple minutes to where and practice doing it with me a couple of times. Okay, so now I'm taking it that everybody's ready to move on, and you've given the time, and we're going to move on to A minor to G, because our next, if we take a look at our chord progression here, we've got G and we've got A minor. That's the next. We just practiced from here to here. So G to A minor, we're going to think a lot about our 2nd finger, where when we were at C chord going to G chord, we were thinking with our 3rd finger. Now we're going to think with our 2nd finger, because our 2nd finger is on the bottom string on this G, and we need to move it to the top string. Okay, so that's where we're going to think. So the first thing we're going to do, and remember, keep it in the box. Keep it, this is your second fret, right? Here's first fret, second fret, third fret. We're right here in the second fret. Okay, making sure that you go from here to here. Okay, that's the movement right there. So we're gonna go G chord. Okay, sorry. I'm gonna strum that G chord and we're gonna practice going from A minor. Here we go, back and forth, moving with the second finger. When we go back to G, of course in this song, we're not gonna have to go from A minor back to G, but I want us practicing with the second finger, using it, going back and forth. So I'm gonna make my picture over here a little bit smaller now. So we're starting on G. Everybody grab your G in 4, 3, 2, 1. Wait on me. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, G. A minor, second fret, top string. Make sure you're hooking. Okay. See that? Make sure that we're not doing this. Make sure that we're not doing that. Okay, go back and do it again. G, using the tips of the fingers. Make sure that that thumb, that's going to be my big thing this year with third grade. It's time for you to get rid of these bad habits. Here we go. G, 1, 2, back and forth. A minor, top string, second fret. G chord, drop down to G chord. A minor, top string, second fret. G chord, drop down the first fret, then let the other fingers find their way, going to the G chord. A minor, top string, second fret, really curl that finger. G chord, first string, just like that. Going to the G chord. A minor, going to A minor. G chord, going to the G chord. A minor, going to A minor. G chord, going to the G chord. Now, our final thing, I'm gonna make my picture a little bit bigger again. The final thing is easy because we're going from A minor, and if we use the right finger to get to A minor, which is that second finger, all we have to do to make that F chord that we talked about at the beginning of class is keep your fingers curled and put your first finger down on the second string. Now, make sure it's the second string and not like the first string, or right here, make sure that there's a string in between. So we're going from A minor to F. Everybody just do that with your fingers for a couple minutes. Maybe not a couple minutes, maybe like 1 minute, okay? I'm gonna change the way I'm setting here. Cool. So I'm making my picture small again. Very good. So just to recap on our song that we're about to do, we're gonna start on C, and we're gonna think with our third finger, going up to G. Okay, then we're going to think with our second finger going up to A minor. Then we're going to think with our first finger to go here. So we got 3, 2, 1. Easy peasy. Yeah, it's harder than it looks. Okay, so we are going to practice doing this. So what I want to do is I'm going to put on the video, and I'm putting on the video at about 75%. It's not full speed, but 75% is going to be slow enough that we have time to think. It's about where we've been practicing, and I'm just going to do it real quick. Okay, and so we are going to go through this, and we are going to practice getting to the right place at the right time, and as it gets easier, we're going to have time to make sure that our thumb is in the right place and that we're using the tips of the fingers, okay? So we're going to practice this about 75%. I want everybody to grab your C chord and get ready, okay? Here Here we go. Grab your C and get ready. To the G chord, to A minor, to the F chord, back to C chord, to the G. Okay, hold on. That's where I want to go. But I think what I want to do real quick is everybody should know how to do this on YouTube. It's a really useful thing. If you notice this little wheel right here, you hit it and it says playback speed. We're at 75%. I'm going to put it at about half speed right now. We're going to do it at half speed for a little bit, and then I'll move it back. So I kind of feel like after I got into it that was a little bit too big of a jump from where we were at. We were kind of doing half speed. So we're going to start there, grab your C and get ready. Here we go. C chord. C. Third finger up to G. To second finger A minor. To the F chord. Back to C chord. To the G chord. To A minor. F chord, back to C chord, to the G chord, to A minor, to the F chord, to the C chord, to the G chord. If you mess up, just grab your C and wait for it to come back around. To the F chord, back to C chord, to the G chord, to A minor, to the F chord, back to C chord, to the G chord, to A minor, to the F chord, back to C chord, G chord, to A minor, to the F chord, back to C. I'm gonna pause right there. Okay, so hopefully there's several of you in here I would expect that are probably doing that and like, I'm ready to move up. And then there's probably a couple of you that are like, and that's okay. Nobody says that we have to all be at the same place, and it's going to happen. Don't get frustrated. Because the great thing about this video is I'm going to make sure that you guys can pull this up at home. If you've got a ukulele that you can practice along with this, okay? So, and we also have the rest of the week. So don't, there's nothing that says we have to be finished today. We won't be, okay? There's plenty to do. And so if you tell me that you're ready to go on to the next level, that means that you're able to switch with plenty of time, that you can think about all of these things, all of these hand things. Don't tell me that you're ready to go on and you're switching real fast, but you got your thumb and your hand all messed up like this, okay? So with that being said, I'm going to back up a little bit here. And I'm going to see if there's anybody that's ready for half speed, okay? There's probably some of you going, I can do full speed. I don't know. We'll see about that tomorrow. But right now, we're going to try to move it up to the next. Here we go. Grab your C chord because this is going to happen quick. So C chord, ready, good. Here we go. Oops. Oh, normally I can just hit my space bar. Here we go. C chord. 2, ready. C. To the G chord. To A minor. To the F chord. Back to C chord. To the G. Oh, sorry about that. I'm having a little bit of lag right here.
Even you spent the weekend getting
To A minor. There we go. To the F chord. Back to C chord. To the G chord. To A minor. To the F chord. Back to C chord. To the G. To A minor. Remember, if you get lost, just grab your C and wait for it to come back around. Don't get frustrated. You got plenty of time. To the G chord. To A minor. To the F chord. Back to C chord. To the G chord. To A minor. To the F chord. Back to C chord. To the G chord. To A minor. To the F chord. Back to C chord. To the G chord. To A minor. To the F chord. Back to C chord. To the G chord. To A minor. To the F chord. Back to C chord. To the G chord. To A minor. To the F chord. Back to C chord. To the G chord. To A minor. To the F chord. Back to C chord. To the G chord. To A minor. Good. Grab your C, C. To the G chord. To A minor. To the F chord. Back to C chord. To the G chord. To A minor. To the F chord. Back to C chord. To the G chord. To A minor. To the F chord. Back to C chord. To the G chord. To A minor. To the F chord. Back to C chord. To the G chord. To A minor. To the F chord. Back to C chord. To the G chord. To A minor. To the F chord. Back to C chord. To the G chord. To A minor. To the F chord. Back to C chord. To the G chord. To A minor. F chord. To the C chord. G. If you get lost, grab your C and wait for it to come back around. To the C chord. To the G chord. To A minor. To the F chord. Back to C chord. All right, so that's our first step. Now, maybe we aced it and we're giving ourselves a big thumbs up. Maybe you're like, I'm getting really close. Okay, that's fine. That's why we practice. Most of you in here, if you're not a thumbs up already, you will go from a to a thumbs up really quickly, okay, if you just practice a little bit. So tomorrow when we come back, what we're going to do is we're going to review from this part here. We're going to go through it slow, then speed it up a little bit, maybe try to even speed it up a little bit more, and then we'll move on to another song once we master this one, okay? So great job today. Hopefully you were able to watch this video and make it mean something. Hopefully you had good focus. If not, maybe we can get your focus straightened out tomorrow, okay? So thank you very much. I will see you soon.